Myself, Lance Schafer. I'm with Lotlinx, General Manager of Product Technology at Lotlinx here for about the last decade. Hard to believe. And we've got another Lance on stage today, Lance Lee, and maybe with Microsoft. So maybe could you tell me a little bit about how long you've been at Microsoft and what are you doing at Microsoft, Lance?
Yep, thank you, Lance. Pleasure to be here. So I've been at Microsoft for about 10 years now. And so some of the past work I did was on Windows apps. And now, quite recently, we've gone into Microsoft Autos. And so I basically am the PM there for both the Edge, the Bing experiences, as well as on Windows.
Okay, great. So Microsoft Autos, I always thought it was kind of neat that Microsoft had a focus on autos, and Lotlinx has been a partner with Microsoft, I'm sure for 6 or 7 years, but we really deepened that relationship over the last couple of years, and it's been great. One of the things I love about Microsoft is their focus on autos. So unlike a lot of other large platforms, I mean, Microsoft is, at least by market cap, I think the most valuable company in the world. I've always thought it was kind of cool that Microsoft had an autos group. So maybe can you talk to me a little bit about, why does Microsoft have an autos approach? Like, not everyone does of the big platforms. And how does Microsoft approach, the autos from a product perspective?
Yeah, so actually, Microsoft has been in autos business for a while. Most people know it as, in the very beginning, CarPoint.
Right, yes, CarPoint. Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah. And then I think we rebranded to MSN Autos, which we're still very known as.
Yeah.
And now it's transitioned to Microsoft Autos. And so I think the key difference now compared to the products before is that Microsoft Autos is not just, let's say, a website, right? It's not just a marketplace. It's basically, we have auto experiences across all the popular products in Microsoft. So as an example, I'm just going to pull the slide. We have a lot of popular products out there. So if you do a search on Bing, as an example, for a BMW X3 near me, we'll be able to show you the autos experience. On Windows itself, on the taskbar, there's basically a car icon there where you can now soon you can basically add your car there. And so it's kind of pervasive all throughout the Microsoft products out there. Edge as well. So here is basically what we show to users when they have a purchase intent. So you have basically browsed before, or you've done a previous search on cars. Then we basically can show it directly on your default homepage.
Great. Yeah, and so, I mean, Microsoft is a huge company and has an automotive kind of group working on it. How does, as a product manager in the auto space, how do you get, obviously those are massive implementations, right? Like across massive platforms, including, the browser and an OS, right? Windows. So how does that approach happen at Microsoft? How does this autos group say we want to be there, we want to do it? What is the approach that Microsoft takes of like listening to the automotive industry itself and saying we've got some unique ideas that we think that are really tailored to automotive?
Yeah, I think one thing that Microsoft does very well is on the consumer space, we know a lot about our users.
Right.
So whenever they're on Windows devices, there's a billion PCs out there. They're basically on Windows.
Yeah.
Whenever a user does a search or they actually browse the website, then Microsoft knows about it. And so at the opportune time, we'll basically show vehicles that the user has been looking for previously. We can retarget and basically promote that to the users that need it at that point in time.
Okay, great. I know one of the interesting initiatives that you told me about, Lance, and of course, at Lotlinx we're interested in working with is the Garage product. Maybe I think that's a really interesting. I know it was released without marketing, and it already has massive uptake. Can you maybe we're at a dealer conference. I'm sure they'd love to hear what's going on in the consumer space. What is Microsoft doing? I haven't heard of any other company doing this, so love to hear what about that release you guys did.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about My Garage. This product basically launched just maybe about 6 months ago, and we had very little promotion about it, like nothing at all. We just basically launched it because we thought it was a cool feature. And what it is basically for car ownership. So me, if I, for example, if I own a 2018 Honda CRV, I put my vehicle inside my garage, and what it does, it tells me the market value of my car. So it helps you to do a future trade-in. It will give me maintenance alerts. It will give me reminders for my next appointment, news, and so forth. So we launched it, and the reception has been really, really good. We had like 1 million cars parked.
Is that right? Wow.
In the last 6 months, again with zero promotion.
Yeah.
Right. But going forward, what we'll do is now we want to put my garage inside Windows. We want to put it in Edge, and so then whenever the user wants to know about their vehicle, that's kind of a place that they can look at.
So from a dealer perspective, I can imagine like some of the integrations where dealers could potentially target people who have certain cars in their garage,
Yeah.
or certain cars that hit a certain age, maybe, and those types of things. So I can imagine that at some point, the My Garage could potentially even help dealers in terms of like targeting people, maybe obviously helping consumers in terms of knowing like, hey, this car is like really a hot car. Maybe it's a good time to trade in another car. Are those some of the use cases that Microsoft is throwing around? Not to give away the whole roadmap, but I mean,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is dealers would know the user's current vehicle, and that's obviously super valuable. And so what we'll do is we'll try to create something called a super lead.
Yeah.
So as an example, I put in the vehicle that I own. We also have wish lists of the future vehicle that I'm looking for. And so then with that, we can create a lead for dealers with the fact that we know exactly what the vehicle is today, the mileage, and they can do a trade-in.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. I'm sure. It's what I like about it is it's a very organic type of lead, right? It would be like, hey, this is the car in my garage right now, and this is really the offer I can get from a dealer. So I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I love the fact that again, it's the website's there. You know your trade-in value, but also Copilot knows about it, right? So Copilot can sometimes prompt you and say, hey, this is a good time to trade in your vehicle. Maybe your vehicle for some reason has risen in value in your area. It's a rare car. And so that's a suggestion that we can start doing going forward.
Okay, so you mentioned Copilot. How do we not go into generative AI and that as well, and Copilot? So, over the last year and a half, Microsoft has given the rest of the world a master class on creating value, in my view. I mean, they went out and they did the partnership with OpenAI. Obviously there was that little shake-up a few weeks ago with OpenAI. Microsoft had it figured out in 4 days. It was obvious that shoring up that value in OpenAI and the investment into OpenAI and ChatGPT has been, an obvious, massive directional pull for Microsoft. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, and it's created massive, value in the stock price, among other things, of course. So Copilot, maybe just for everyone here who doesn't know what Copilot is, because I think that's the general Microsoft product, I'd love to talk about Copilot and then go into some of the applications that the product team, Auto's product team is using with Copilot. So maybe just let's talk about Copilot. Like, what is Copilot? How does it relate to ChatGPT or OpenAI, and how has it been productized at Microsoft?
Yeah, maybe we can start off with why I think Microsoft has done really well with AI. Again, a lot of it has to do with our strong partnership with OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT. You can see on the slide, basically, ChatGPT has 100 million users in a very, very short amount of time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy, and so we have a very, very strong partnership with them, and with access to the latest tech. And so with this latest tech, one thing that Microsoft has is a lot of strong consumer products. So things like Office, Xbox, Windows. Now we can basically deploy this AI tech across all the popular products we have out there. And thirdly, I think what Microsoft has done well is, these queries for chats, they're really complex compared to your typical search that you would do today. So it requires a lot of computing power. And so we have spent, I think, billions right now on AI infrastructure in order to do all of these calculations. And so, Microsoft is in a way in a unique position to capture people leading in this AI space.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's we've got the chart up here. It's unbelievable that TikTok, Instagram. It's absolutely, the adoption is stronger than all of those launches. Facebook. I mean, you can see all of the Dropbox. Like, really, it has been an incredible launch with ChatGPT, and then of course Copilot and its application. So yeah, so obviously Microsoft is committed to generative AI and AI generally. So let's talk just about Copilot, and what is Copilot as versus kind of ChatGPT, and just from just at a broad level, and then we can talk about some of the applications. So how would you describe Copilot as to everyone who hasn't used Copilot? I'm sure most people have used Copilot, but for those who haven't, what is Copilot? What does it do? How does a consumer interact with Copilot?
Yeah, so what the Microsoft Autos team did, we call it Microsoft Autos AI, is that we basically have released this on our marketplace, where people buy and use for new and used vehicles. And so what we're seeing actually for those type of websites, a lot of queries that are coming in is around a chatbot that is more of a salesperson in that situation. Lots of our queries are all around features, right? It's around, does this car have, CarPlay? Does it have, leather seating? It's very, very kind of nuanced questions across, all the make and models in our marketplace today. So that's one thing. The second place that we're releasing is on My Garage. And for My Garage, interestingly, most of the questions are around, maintenance of my vehicle. So I'm seeing queries of users asking, why does my car have this strange noise coming out?
Yeah.
I'm at like 50,000 mileage, and what can I expect? And so, Copilot there is basically able to, look at the various ownership experiences out there for that vehicle, and basically deliver the proper response to our user.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, as with Copilot and the integration into the automotive products, do they have a specific type of integration? Like, it's obviously the autos industry is very unique, right? And whereas you think of Copilot as a broad product of Microsoft, is there an automotive is there an automotive approach that integrating Copilot into the products? Like, is there a specific approach, or is it the Microsoft approach where we're kind of broadly looking at all verticals and approaching it in the same way?
Yeah. So on the Microsoft side, what we're doing is we're putting it on our marketplace and the My Garage website. But in addition, what we're planning is basically a Autos AI, for dealers.
Yeah.
And so dealers can basically put a single line of code, as an example, basically easily plug in the Copilot that we have today, and they will enjoy all the benefits of all the learnings that we've had with our Autos AI launch.
Okay. And where does that code? Like, if I was a dealer and want to put that code on, does that go on my website? Or
the dealers can basically put it on the website, and we basically, since we have all the data from marketplace listings, we would basically have most of your inventory available already. Obviously, you can make customizations afterwards, but then now Copilot knows everything about your inventory, as well as other cars in that area, and basically presents a lot of good opportunities when speaking with users, telling them why this car is valuable in that particular area, and capture a lead for the dealership.
So if I'm a consumer going to a dealer site that has Copilot on it, then as a consumer I can start to query. Really, like, I'd be talking to almost like a product expert of all the automobiles, saying, hey, I've got for example, I've got 3 kids and a dog, and we like to go skiing and this and that. Can you tell me some of the cars that you think would fit for that? Is that the way you're seeing it? Or?
I mean, that's absolutely it. So it's no longer a query. Now it's a conversation. And so Autos AI will be able to respond to the user and give them a list of recommended vehicles, and then take them to the next step.
Yeah. So as you've are you able to see, as a product team, are you able to see some of those queries, like in terms of logging those queries and analyzing them?
Yeah. So we do, and so these are all anonymized, right? So, but we do see the queries coming in, and a lot of these are in our marketplace. It's around the features of a car,
Yeah.
Very specific things. A live person, would know some of this information, but now it's kind of like the fact that we have access to all the inventory available for a dealer, then it will give a lot more precise answers to those questions.
It's great. And so, generally speaking, you get to see those. Are the consumers understanding of the power of that now? Like, I mean, ChatGPT. I mean, people have gotten used to using generative AI over the last. It's hard to believe it's only like 14 or 15 months, really, since 3.5 was released, right? Do you feel like consumers are understanding how to work with the chatbots? I mean, it is natural language, I suppose. Most people, but I think we're so used to using regular search where we're trying to, put a 4 or 5 keyword search in there. It used to be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but now we're talking about very complex questions. Do you feel like is there evidence that you've seen that the consumer is getting that, like that they're moving along that capability of prompting a chatbot that uses an LLM?
Yeah, so I think, search does a lot of things very well today. And, the whole world knows how to use search. But there are certain questions that you need answered where, you don't want 10 blue links on the page, right? And so, questions like, around, planning my vacation. I want a 7-day itinerary. You don't want a page of blue links.
Right.
And I think car buying is kind of a similar vein as that, where, given the fact that, hey, my lifestyle is that, I have 2 kids looking for a large vehicle with towing capacity, you just want the answer directly.
Right.
And so that's where I think Copilot really shines. And so I think, moving forward, consumers for these type of queries, they'll be training towards a chat interface versus search.
Right. Does Microsoft have a view? I think, if you think of Google obviously had some generative AI that they weren't broadly releasing, and the speculation was, well, it could disrupt their search business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they've ever come out and said that. Does Microsoft have that view? I mean, Microsoft's got Bing and regular, what I call now regular search, which is just search. What is Microsoft's view, or do they have a view on, is generative AI replacing search? I know generative AI does other things too, but like often I'm using generative AI just to ask a question that I would use the search engine before, or use the search function, but I'll just go to Copilot and do that instead. Is there kind of what's your general feeling on just like are consumers going to gradually move from regular search into using generative AI to communicate?
I mean, that's an excellent question. So I think we're really early in this AI space. I mean, it's only been a year since AI came out. So I would say is, at the moment, I think we're testing, various scenarios, right? So again, some scenarios still work really well with your basic search, but certain scenarios where you just need the answer directly, and that the user can provide more context, that's when I think chat really shines, and we're going to be focusing on those scenarios.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I want to, kind of change the focus a bit to dealers. And so, of course, we're at a dealer conference. What should dealers be excited about right now? Like, if you think in the lens of Microsoft technology, I know at Lotlinx we're very excited about the future and what we're developing for dealers. With you especially. What do you think? What should a dealer be excited about right now about what Microsoft's developing and the future?
Yeah, I think the main thing for dealers to understand from Microsoft is, again, it's not just the marketplace website. It's basically anyone using a Windows machine, and which there's a billion of them out there.
Right. So so I'm going to really stop there. So they should be excited that there's a billion. You're connected. Microsoft is connected into a billion people, right? That are asking questions to this chatbot, that are parking cars in their garage, and the marketplace. So I think that I don't want to skip over the billion aspect. I know that's worldwide, right? I mean, obviously there's 400 million people in the United States. What about the U.S. market? I mean, is the U.S. do you have a sense of how many in the U.S. market?
Yeah, so it's a large amount.
It's a large amount. Yeah.
I can't show you.
But it's a lot. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, we're on this machine right now.
I think the thing is, you got to think about it is, our users are basically a little bit different. They do skew a little bit older. But it's basically a lot of users that are a lot more professional, right? So in a corporate environment, our kind of sweet spot is when a user is that whenever they take a break, in the office, they're surfing in the lunch during lunchtime, they basically use our products, and they're on the edge, they're searching for various things, and we can recommend them vehicles at that point in time based on what we know about them.
Awesome. Yeah. So Microsoft has a very specific strategy in the automotive space, and dealers are going to be able to participate in that more and more. Is that safe to say?
So, sorry,
yeah. So most of these products are very consumer focused, but like dealers are going to be able to participate, hopefully through partnerships like with Lotlinx and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty exciting. That I think dealers. My general view is. Dealers, I don't think they wake up in the morning and think about Microsoft a whole lot. That's right? Fair. You know what I mean? They're not, there's not Microsoft reps showing up at their dealership saying, we're doing something important. And I think that's changing. I think we're, especially with the product roadmaps that you guys have developed, I think that's exciting for Microsoft. And I think I think dealers need to know about Microsoft at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a complementary part of their marketing plan. Microsoft offers a very unique set of users. They're professional, and it's basically pervasive throughout the Windows ecosystem that we have, and the fact that these leads that we generate are going to be a lot more personalized because we know a lot more about the users.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, just my perspective, here at Lotlinx, we've been, for over a decade working in some shape or form with Microsoft. And it's never been a more exciting time to work with Microsoft. I mean, that's
awesome.
So obviously, we're very excited about what we're doing with you. Just watching what you're doing. You've brought in, Liz and you. Liz was here yesterday. Great leaders in the automotive space that are, here at NADA, actually like meeting dealers, talking to all the vendors, and etc. So I congratulate Microsoft on really, I think, breaking through. Right? I mean. Breaking through, Microsoft, it sounds funny saying it, I mean, obviously, but I mean, I really think breaking through into what this crowd at this conference is doing. So, keep up the good work, and I think we're in good shape. So that's all we've got. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very nice to meet you. Yeah. Okay.